Part 4. The email she never meant me to see. For the next few days, I said nothing. Not to Jennifer. Not to Michael. Not to anyone. I went about my life as usual. I watered my plants. Read my books. Went grocery shopping. Smiled when people asked how I was doing. And all the while, I watched. Because once trust is broken, you begin noticing things you once ignored. Small things. Strange things. Things that suddenly make sense. And the more I paid attention, the more uneasy I became. Jennifer started calling more often. Which should have made me happy. Instead, it made me suspicious. For years, she had been too busy. Too distracted. Too overwhelmed. Now she seemed unusually interested in my life. Every conversation somehow drifted toward the same subjects. The house. My health. My future. Retirement. Living arrangements. Safety. At first she was subtle. Then less subtle. And eventually, it became impossible to ignore. One afternoon she stopped by unexpectedly. She carried coffee and pastries. A gesture that would have seemed thoughtful under normal circumstances. But now, everything felt different. We sat in the kitchen, talking about ordinary things. The weather. The grandchildren. Holiday decorations. Then she casually asked, "Have you ever thought about moving closer to us?" There it was again. The same topic. The same direction. The same agenda. I smiled. No. She laughed. You answered that pretty fast. Because I've already thought about it. And I like my home. Her smile faded slightly. Only for a second. But I noticed. Because now, I noticed everything. After about an hour, Jennifer received a phone call. She stepped into the living room to answer it, leaving her laptop open on the kitchen table. At first I paid no attention. I had never been the kind of person who snooped. Privacy mattered. Trust mattered. At least it used to. Then a notification appeared on the screen. An email preview. Just a few visible words. But enough. Enough to stop my heart. Because I saw my name. I stared at the screen. Telling myself to look away. Telling myself it wasn't my business. Telling myself there had to be an innocent explanation. Then another line became visible. Discussion regarding Margaret's property. Property. Again. I felt the room grow silent. The clock on the wall seemed louder. My breathing seemed louder. Everything seemed louder. Except reason. Reason had already left the room. Slowly. I looked at the screen. Just long enough. Just enough to understand. The email chain contained several messages. Jennifer. Michael. Mark. And someone else. A real estate advisor. Not a friend. Not a relative. A professional. Someone discussing options. Possibilities. Strategies. Regarding my home. I felt sick. Physically sick. Not because of the property. Not because of money. Because of the betrayal. Because they had moved beyond casual conversations. Beyond opinions. Beyond concern. They were consulting professionals. Making plans. Taking steps. And nobody had spoken to me. Not once. Then I saw the sentence. The sentence that changed everything. A sentence I would never forget. Jennifer had written. The challenge is getting Mom to agree without making her feel pressured. I stared at those words. Again. And again. And again. Getting Mom to agree. Not asking. Not discussing. Not respecting. Getting. As though my decision had already been made. As though my role was simply to cooperate. Another message appeared below it. Michael's response. Short. Direct. Cold. She'll come around eventually. That was it. 9 words. 9 words that revealed exactly how little they understood me. Or respected me. Or knew me anymore. Because if they truly knew me, they would know something important. I don't respond well to manipulation. Never have. Never will. At that moment, I heard Jennifer returning. I immediately looked away. My heart pounding. My hands trembling. She walked back into the kitchen smiling. Completely unaware. Completely comfortable. Completely convinced that her secret remained hidden. I smiled back. And for the first time in my life, I lied to my daughter. Not with words. With silence. Because now I knew. And she didn't know that I knew. That changed everything. After she left, I sat alone for hours. Thinking. Remembering. Questioning. I replayed decades of memories. Birthday parties. School graduations. Christmas mornings. Family vacations. Moments I had treasured. Moments I had sacrificed for. Moments I believed meant something. And one painful question kept returning. When exactly had I stopped being their mother? And started becoming their inheritance? That night, I opened a box I hadn't touched since David died. A wooden box stored in our bedroom closet. Inside were letters. Photographs. Documents. Memories. Pieces of a life we had built together. At the very bottom was a letter. A letter David had written years earlier. Not because he expected to die. Simply because that was the kind of man he was. Prepared. Thoughtful. Careful. The letter contained advice. Memories. And one sentence that struck me harder than ever before. Never let anyone make decisions about your life while pretending they're doing it for your own good. I read it 3 times. Then I cried. Not from sadness. From clarity. Because suddenly I knew exactly what I needed to do. For years I had reacted. Adjusted. Accommodated. Compromised. Not anymore. Now I would act. On my terms. With my choices. And my voice. Because this wasn't about a house. It never had been. It was about respect. Dignity. Independence. And the right to control my own future. The next morning, I scheduled 3 appointments. One with my attorney. One with my financial advisor. And one with a person my children never expected me to contact. A private investigator. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I wanted facts. The complete truth. Every conversation. Every document. Every step they had already taken. If there was a plan. I intended to uncover all of it. What I didn't know was that the truth would be even worse than I imagined. Because my children weren't just discussing my future. They had already begun preparing for a future without me. End of part 4.